Good evening. How are you? Are you good? Are you fantastic? Are you wonderful? We're just going to get started a little bit early while we wait for our special mermaid guest to come in and join me. I hope she knows how to do that and that we can figure this out. I hope she knows because I'm really looking forward to this. I've never done this before. I mean, I've done lots of lives. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh my goodness, welcome to the mermaid family. I've done lots of lives. Look, my happy octopus thanks you. Boop, 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 boop. Squish, 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 squish. Yes. Okay, good. So I now have two moderators that are going to come in here. Okay. So, thank you for the follow. Oh my goodness. Look, you get a squish too. Look. Squish, 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 squish. Thank you. I've done lots of lives, but I've never done inviting someone in before. Salut, salut, mon ami. Bonjour. Ça va? Je suis, je suis la sirène. Je m'appelle Mermaid Jacy. What is that? Bien, merci. Je suis content. Oui, je suis content. Je suis très content. Let me see. So I'm waiting for my other special mermaid guest to come in. I'm going to give her a little while. I did start early so that, we can, and there's one of my mods. Hello, Mermaid Noelle. Thank you for coming in and modding for me. Our special guest. Montreal. Bonjour, Montreal. Je suis dans la Ontario. Content, oui, bravo. Bravo. Very good, very good. So exciting. Like, you're testing my French, my honey. You're testing my French. We try hard over here, but I am a native English speaker, so it's a little difficult for me. I'm sorry. Oh, oui! Oh, that's so good. I'm happy. I'm happy about that. Now, for some reason, it's flashing in and out about people. So I'm going to wait for a few more minutes to... Oh, I got a question. How are you? I am well. I'm going to actually save that question for... There she is.
Hey!
There she is.
Did I miss anything so far?
No, darling. No, we're just I got them started and I'm talking to peoples and I just wanted to make sure that I had a moderator in here and I do.
Sweet.
So our moderator is going to make sure that chat behaves themselves.
Uh-huh.
Because you know how mermaids can trigger people sometimes. So, oh my gosh, Nymphia, it is such a pleasure to meet you, my fishy. Oh my goodness, it is such a pleasure to meet you. You have no idea how much of a fanfish I am. I'm a very big fanfish.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to meet you. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell the peoples a little bit about yourself. So I want you to introduce yourself. And I wanted to incorporate a fan question in there while you're introducing yourself. So Adam JRC asks, how old was Nymphia when she first knew she wanted to be a mermaid? And how did that journey begin? So while you're introducing yourself, why don't you go ahead and answer that fan question at the same time?
Yeah, totally. So hi everybody. I go by Nymphia, or Nymphia the Nautilus Mermaid. I'm a professional mermaid based in San Francisco, California, specifically around the Oakland area. And I do everything from like birthday parties. I've done a few corporate events here and there. And I'm also really into doing my own, kind of bringing my mermaid character story to life in a really, really big way. I can't really talk much about it as of yet, but it's happening and it's going to be really cool. So as far as that fan question, who was the one who asked it?
That would be Adam JRC. He's currently in the chat right now, and he asked that in the Q&A section.
Sounds good. Hey, Adam. So I first wanted to be a mermaid. Ooh, that's a really good question. So I didn't really get into the mermaid scene until sometime while I was in college. I do a lot of costume work as well. I used to be a cosplayer at like a bunch of different conventions in SoCal. So I really wanted to make an aerial tail for a costume that I really loved. And when I did, I stumbled upon a forum called Mer Network. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Jacy, but it's a
Yes.
really, huh?
Yes, we're in the Mer network. It's still going. It's still going.
Yeah. I don't really see much usage in it now, but I've seen I used to be like it was like one of the biggest forums for like the mermaid community as a whole. They had everything from like costume tutorials to swimming meetups and everything. They had pods from all over the world. And it was just a really good place, a really cool place for all these mermaids to kind of congregate and hang out. And lo and behold, I guess I just got hooked. And here I am now, a couple years later, and I am now a professional mermaid. So, yeah.
But I would say, Nymphia, that like you might agree with me when I say that most of us knew we were mermaids before we found the mermaid community. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like we might have been way younger. Like for me, it was like 3. I
Yeah.
just kind of knew. I'm like, I'm a mermaid.
Yeah. I mean, when I loved, I mean, of course, being with the red hair, I had a big obsession with the Little Mermaid ever since I was little. I think the first time I saw it was back when I was about 3, maybe 2 years old. And then I think from there, I just kind of like me and my friends would always play mermaids in the pool. We would just kind of pretend we were mermaids whenever we were at the beach. And that was kind of, I think that was when it all kind of began for me. It was like, it was after watching that movie because Little Mermaid has inspired me so much, like creatively and just kind of in what I do. So yeah.
So tell me more. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the certifications that you have,
Yeah.
because you do carry a certification in both PADI Scuba and in lifeguarding. Can you talk a little bit about that and maybe why that's important in the work that you do?
Yeah, totally. So as far as like the lifeguard certification goes, because that's kind of my big one. So I'm certified in two kind of lifeguard fields currently. I am just regular lifeguard certification through the Red Cross. I am also a lifeguard instructor. I recently just got that certification a few months ago before COVID started. And well, last year before COVID started. But yeah, I feel like for lifeguarding, it's a really essential skill to have, especially when you're in the water dealing with kids and like with little ones, especially because a lot of times when you're in the water with a mermaid and you're having like a kids party, sometimes the littler kids aren't really as strong of swimmers. Sometimes something happens, and it's always good to have that certification on you because it's good for safety, especially when you're dealing, like I said, when you're dealing with smaller kids. With scuba diving, scuba diving kind of came long before I became a lifeguard, and I really wanted to get certified. I heard that a lot of the bigger name professional mermaids were scuba dive trained or scuba dive certified. So getting the chance, and I really wanted to do one of the things I really wanted to do was tank shows because I love the idea of like swimming in an aquarium with all of these fish around you. And it was really cool to get to experience that feel of like being underwater, having the oxygen tank strapped to you and like feeling like a superhero when you're like going all the way down underwater with that oxygen with the oxygen tank. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's such a surreal experience to get to like be in that underwater realm and really feel like a real mermaid, like swimming underwater, breathing the oxygen from the tank, and then just and seeing the life that's all around you. It's incredible.
You're one of my California mermaids, is that correct? You're based in
Yep,
California?
that's right.
And are you one of my ocean mermaids? Do you often peruse the ocean waters, whether you're scuba diving or mermaiding?
Sometimes, yeah. With the Bay Area in particular, the water gets a little bit chilly. But
Mhm.
I've definitely swam in the ocean in SoCal, and I've swam in the ocean in Hawaii as well.
Oh my gosh, we're lucky fishy. We're a landlocked fish, like literally in the middle of Canada. So my options for swimming are either public pools or very cold lakes. You
Oh
really have to
no,
enjoy the cold. Let's
just
see, the
like the
water.
water.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, babe. Like the water here does not get any warmer than, well, no, Lake Ontario can get like maybe 70 degrees, but the upper lakes don't get any warmer than like 65.
oh dear.
Yeah, it's a little chilly over there.
I mean, as Elsa once put it, the cold never bothered you anyway.
Exactly. We gotta pretend. We just gotta put a smile on and just be like, nah, I'm a cold water fish. It's fine.
Like fake it till
I did. Sorry, babe. I did want to talk to you specifically about something that people might be interested in hearing about, which is running a successful social media account. Because your
ooh.
Instagram, baby, is popping. Your Instagram is popping. If you don't know this
Thank
fishy, you got to go follow this fishy immediately. Popping Instagram. So tell me a little bit about how you manage that and the type of content that you put out that your followers are interested in, if you don't mind.
you. Ooh, alrighty. That's really tricky because it's like, for me, my biggest thing with like my mermaiding and my mermaid, I guess my mermaid brand, if you will, is storytelling. And I want to feel like when people are looking through my feed or through my Instagram feed, I want it to feel like a real mermaid like posted it. So like she'll like, you'll see like little bits of like swimming and little bits of like photo shoots here and there, videos, and then some elements of the story that are kind of sprinkled throughout the feed. But I also like to throw little bits of aesthetic-y posts in there. Like, say for example, if like a mermaid finds something new or finds like a new treasure that she wants to show off, like she'd like show it off in her grotto and like have all these really pretty decorations and stuff. So that's always been like my biggest thing. And a lot of times I get a lot of jokes saying that I'm kind of the aesthetic queen because I just love playing with that nautical kind of pirate Viking aesthetic. And for me, like I think it makes for a really fun kind of discovery when you're looking through all these feeds and you see little bits of like the Viking elements. Like you see the Mjolnir pendant that Thor wears, and you see some parts that are like Nymphia's pendant and some of the treasures that she wears. So figured it'd be a really
And
fun way to
something that Nymphia likes to take quite often, that naughty fishy, that maybe she
like,
shouldn't.
he's told me that I need to return it at some point, but sometimes it just goes missing for some reason. I don't know why.
It just reminds me a lot of like that sort of modern stereotype of the girlfriend and the boyfriend's sweater. I don't know why, like every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, it's the boyfriend's sweater. She's got it. She's got it. Return it. Never. No, it's mine now. Thanks.
It's mine.
It's mine. I'm never returning it. But I wanted to, because how I initially found you was actually through your interview with Insider.
Oh,
All that time ago was how I was brought into your realm of mermaiding, and I was so attracted by the world that you had created. And I've got people saying hi, so we're just gonna say hi from Czech Republic. Hello, the Czech Republic.
hey, how's it
Welcome
going?
to Mermaid TikTok. Can you see these? Can you see these comments as well?
I don't think I
You don't
can.
see my comments? Okay, so I can only see them. So I've got people saying hi from the Czech Republic. Hello to Czech
Hello.
Republic. My moderators are saying hi. Adam is being so sweet. Adam's the one who hello from oh, just everyone's saying hello. So just give a good wave. Give a good wave, my fishy. Hello, hello, hello. I'm sorry I can't read some of these comments because like I'm really far away from the camera and we're a bit of a blind fish. So unless I'm in water, I can't see.
Oh, I've got
um
like I need I wear glasses too, so I feel the struggle.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
like I can't see. So during your interview with Insider, did you want to talk a little bit about that and roughly about how maybe the mermaid world can be just overall generally more inclusive to just different types of fishes and how we can be more inclusive.
ooh, that's a really good one. As far as like just being inclusive within the mermaid community, I mean, like a lot of people consider the mermaid community to be this safe space for everybody, no matter their race, gender identity, orientation, religion, what have you. You can always bring that to the table, and everyone can kind of hold their own space within our community. You'll get a few of the negative Nancy's from time to time that like to stir the pot, and they'll do their thing. But for me, like my biggest thing within the community and kind of how I want to perceive the community and kind of how what I'm totally tripping up on my words right now.
No,
Um,
take your time, David. Take your time.
so kind of how I feel like I want to present myself. I want to be the welcoming one that like brings everybody into the community. I'm a hugger by nature, so I'm just like everybody come in here, big group hug for everybody since we're all together. And I don't know, I feel like that's always been something that I've been very proud of. I know a lot of people within the mermaid community have talked to me about like, oh, like thank you so much for bringing bringing such a positivity and such a great essence in our space, and it just feels like an honor to get to represent that. So yeah, if I can be a voice for like MERS of color, being Puerto Rican, if I can be a voice for both MERS of color and MERS for kind of MERS within the LGBTQIA space, specifically within the trans and non-binary space, it's honestly it's a really big honor, and I really don't know where I would be without the support of so many people. So yeah,
I completely understand when you're saying about how, because like I started personally started doing this to create a safe space using fantasy, right? That
yeah,
I found, because my background is in early childhood education, especially dealing with children that have complex mental health issues.
uh-huh.
And I found that you can approach difficult subjects with children when you use fantasy, right? So it's almost like a way around that subject that's approached in a safer manner.
Yeah,
So it's not so in your face, straight at you, because people can feel threatened, right, when you
yeah,
come at them straight like that. So that's kind of, I completely understand and empathize when you say that we're trying to create a safe space. And that's why like I'm very careful with even how my followers interact with each other in this space. You know, like I give them warnings and I tell them like, hey, you know, everyone is welcome in here. And if you have a problem with that, maybe this isn't the right avenue for you, or maybe this isn't the right space for you, but you are also welcome in here as long as you respect other people's um, right to be here, right? Because
yeah.
everyone has a right to be here. And I just if people don't know, and if you're interested in Nymphia's full interview with Insider, I really suggest you check this out. You can find that on her Instagram through her links there. So please go and read the whole interview, because it is really something special to the mermaid community. That's a true treasure, and I cherish your opinion on the matter so much, and I cherish your perspective on it, and the fact that you've become a voice for a people that can feel like they're not welcome, or that they're being stomped on, or whatever. So it's a really special voice to have.
It's
So I'm just
real.
reading these comments here. I know that mug is here. People are commenting on my tea mug, it being so big.
I had a couple of friends of mine just pop in, and they're just saying they're saying hi. So hey, Whimsy Blurred, love you so much.
Oh,
And then
Whimsy's in here. Hello, beautiful. Oh, so okay, so you've got, so if your friends are seeing you, you can see their comments, but I can't see their comments, and I can see my people's comments. Okay, so yes, if you
yeah,
see comments you want to respond to, please do that.
no, by all means, I'm an open book. So if anybody has any questions, so please don't be afraid to ask me.
Yes, please. So actually, if anybody has questions for Mermaid Nymphia, I'm gonna be calling for those questions at a time where like you can all put them down. So save your questions for a little bit so that I can actually look down. Or you can just pop them in the chat whenever they come to you, and then my moderators will notify me if there's a question, just by bringing it to my attention. So, um, in regards to I'm gonna pop back for a second to certification,
Yeah,
because I personally am trying to take my mermaiding from hobby mermaid to professional mermaid, and so I'm waiting on certain certifications to come because, pandemic, and we're in a what did you call it today that had me in stitches? A Panera bread? Did you call it a Panera
Love
bread?
of Sarah.
Dying. I was dying. I was in stitches. So we're in a Panera bread right now, and so I'm waiting. But Patty does actually have mermaid certification. Do you have thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? Tell me, darling. Tell me.
Yeah, so I mean, I knew that there was a certification for mermaids kind of from the get go. SSI was the one that usually ran it originally, and I know of a couple people that are SSI mermaid instructors. I know Yara Mandan is one that's based here in San Francisco. Vero Beach Mermaid, I believe, has one as well. But when I heard that Patty was doing a certification for mermaids, it really intrigued me because I already had the Patty Scuba cert, and I kind of wanted to see what exactly a mermaid certification would entail exactly. Because I would imagine it would be something on the line of just making sure that you're holding your breath for a really long time, slowing down your heart rate while you swim, and trying to conserve that energy while you're moving. I've never really taken the certification course. I'm hoping to do so by fall of this year, just to kind of see what it's about. But even still, I'm really happy that there's a certification for mermaids. It's so cool, and it makes kind of, if you want to get more into the professional space, it's really unique to have. And I feel like having that training and having that certification will really do wonders for you in the long run. It's amazing.
We're working towards it, my fishy. We're working towards it because I just personally believe in um safety within the community. I believe in holding the community to a high standard of performance, especially if you're going to the sport aspect. So I personally am more attracted to the free diving sport aspect of mermaiding. It does wonders for my anxiety. It does wonders for
Ooh,
my own personal just overall well-being.
yeah,
So I'd like to maintain a higher standard in the sport by getting certified. And so I'm hoping to get my freediving certification, and then I'm hoping to get mermaid teacher level 1 certified, so like dealing with like small children.
yeah.
That kind of thing would just be amazing. And people are commenting right now. They've asked a question. She's Ariel. Maybe this person wasn't in here when you were explaining that your aesthetic is sort of inspired by Ariel. Did you want to
Yeah.
answer that?
Yeah, well, I'm not really Ariel. The red hair might make you think otherwise, but I am not. This is my original Mersona. Her name is Nymphia. Am I allowed to give a little bit of story background on her, or should I save that
No,
for her later?
the floor is yours. Whatever you want to talk about, Nymphia, you go,
Yeah.
honey, you go.
So, with Nymphia, I can't really give too much away because I'm in the process of working on the story as well. But Nymphia is a sea nymph or a nereid, which is one of the sea nymphs of Greek mythology. And she falls in love with a handsome prince who's a Viking named Thor. And they go on all of these amazing adventures, and all the while she's kind of trying to figure out little elements of her lost past and learning a bit more about who she is and where her destiny lies. So it's a really fun little kind of coming of age story, but also mixing in a bit of that classic Disney romance. And yeah.
It's giving me chills. I love romances. I just love it so much. Someone picked up on your certification and all that entails when you said that. Someone picked up on that. So pun intended. And
Totally,
someone said,
totally intended.
yeah, totally intended. Everything we say is completely on purpose. Thank you so much for talking about your anxiety. Oh, I'm very open about my anxiety. I'm very open about certain things. My anxiety, um, my struggle with depression, and my weight loss surgery. So if anyone has questions about that, you can ask me about that. But in regards to dealing with the pandemic, because as you said earlier, Nymphia, you're a hugger, right? You're a hugging, compassionate, loving fishy. How have you been doing mental health wise? Like, how have you been in regards to distancing or social isolation? Like, how have you been?
I've been pretty good actually. Like Sometimes in my own personal experience, I love interacting with people. I love getting to go out and like saying, like talking to people. I can talk people's ear off if given the opportunity, but I also need that time to kind of recharge my batteries. I do work within my human job, if you will. I work within the realm of like dealing with a lot of people, being that a lifeguard instructor and a pool monitor for a pool in San Francisco. So you're constantly talking to people, meeting people, getting their experiences, and talking more about like swimming and stuff. So then by the time I leave work and I go home, I'm just like, I just want to just recharge the batteries and just unwind and everything. So I guess that's kind of been a really good spot for me with the global panini happening. But as far as like with kids, whenever I swim, I usually go swimming in my tail at my work pool. So when I'm swimming, we'll get kids that'll come in and they'll swim around, and I feel so sad by the end of like every swim, because like all the kids want to just hug you and like swim and be around you, and like you get and want to play with you, and it's like it kind of breaks your heart that you can't do it, but at the same time it's for safety and you want to make sure that they're being safe as much as you are. And it's good. It's good in terms of like trying to keep that space, but at the same time, my heart does die a little bit inside because I just want to be like, "You're so cute. I just want to take you home. You're adorable."
Yeah, and they also they don't really understand, right? Like we as adults we have to provide them with like you know a boundary for safety, but they don't understand, right? They're just so little, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But like the amazing thing is I last year I got the opportunity to go camping with my husband a little bit up north in Ontario, and we made it
Uh-huh.
to a place called Mermaid's Cove. That's
Uh-huh.
what the place is called. It's this unbelievable, beautiful natural grotto in like a freshwater lake. It's in Lake Huron, and
Yeah.
I got to sit there in Mermaid's Cove in my finfolk tail and listen to a little screaming person come running down the path going, I knew it! I knew there was a mermaid here! I knew there was a mermaid! And that just made my entire life. That
Aw,
when
so cute.
it was just the sweetest, most amazing interaction that because I know how I would have felt as a young person if I'd have gone to Mermaid's Cove and seen a mermaid. Like I just would have that would have been it for the rest of my life. Um Random observation. Oh, Nymphia's necklace is beautiful.
Aw, thank
Someone is
you.
saying your necklace is gorgeous. So Nymphia, actually that's a good segue. Let's talk about Nymphia's favorite accessories and why does she have them? Go ahead,
Well,
darling.
I'm glad you asked because I'm wearing a few of my favorites right now. The one thing that you'll normally see me wearing when I'm swimming, like when I'm swimming as Nymphia, is this headdress. You can kind of see it a little bit better. But this was originally a Marbella Studios headdress. It had the Nautilus shells originally there, and I got it as a not a birthday present, as a Christmas present to myself. Had a bit of a kind of a low point during Christmas around 2017, leading into 2018. And when I did, I bought the headdress as kind of like a pick me up. I wasn't expecting to get it, believe it or not. And lo and behold, I emailed Raven and Tyler, who run Marbella Studios. And for the eight of you who don't know about Marbella Studios, their stuff is incredible. They make some of the most unique and artistic looking mermaid tails on the market. And they create the most beautiful accessories. You can check on their Facebook page. They usually list they'll list accessories and stuff in batches so people can like email to get them. They've got a few things on sale right now if anybody's interested. But yeah,
Ooh, a sale.
I wasn't expecting to get the piece. And lo and behold, the day after I get an email from Tyler being like, "Hey, so this headdress is still available. Did you still want it?" I'm just like, "Yes."
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Like, "Yes, please." And it actually came It came to my door on Christmas Eve, and it was just such an amazing. It was just such an amazing time, and like getting the headdress. This has kind of been the signature for Nymphia going forward. I've always had this headdress. I've had it now for about 4 years. She's gone through a bit of wear and tear, a full band replacement, new shells. I've kind of repainted bits and pieces of it, but she's still kicking. I'm very surprised after all the times that I've swam in it.
And your necklace, babe? Did you want to talk about your necklace real quick?
Yeah, the necklace is also from Marbella Studios. This was a piece that they released these collection of all these Nautilus themed pendants, and the one that I wanted was this kind of bright powder blue pendant, which is kind of the color that Nymphia's necklace is in the story. And when I saw it, by the time I saw it, it had already sold out, and I was so bummed. But this bright teal one came up, I think, a few sales after, and as soon as I saw the color, I'm just like, mine. I want it. I need it. And lo and behold, Tyler got back to me, and I was able to score it, and it's just such a nice piece. I love it so much. I've swam in it many times. This lots of Raven stuff is built to last underwater, so you can get a lot of really good looks going with all of her stuff, and she's incredible.
I wanted to actually pair this up a little bit while you're talking about your favorite accessories. Can we talk really quick about accessory care? So like when
Yeah.
you're wearing them in the water, and then when you get out of the water, what do you need to do? What do you do with it?
Yeah. So usually when I get out of the water with all of the accessories on, I'll very gently kind of take it out of the hair, and then I let it soak in fresh water for like 3-4 minutes, just so it gets all the chlorine and stuff out. And then I'll set it to the side, and I'll usually let it air dry on a towel just to make sure that it kind of airs out and you get all the really gross chlorine smell out.
Yeah.
I've got accessories with them being a bit smaller. The necklace in particular is really easy to take care of. This cuff is also really easy to take care of as well. And yeah, a lot of the smaller pieces you can easily just soak it in like soapy water, and then just toss it into like a towel and just let it dry on its own. Whereas with the mermaid tops or with the mermaid tails, it takes a bit longer because of the fabric underneath, or with the silicone, you have to air it out with a blow fan, and you have to like disinfect the inside. It's a whole process.
Yeah, you kind of, when you get into mermaiding and you have something as expensive and as incredible as a silicone tail, you really have to love the process of caring for it, or just don't do it. Just don't get one, because it's not only the amazingness of swimming in one and getting footage in one and being the mermaid you've always wanted to be, and then you have 2 to 3 hours of caring for the tail after the fact you get out of the water. So you really have to love doing this, and you have to sort of love every sort of aspect, from, like you were saying, accessory hunting, right? You can kind
Yeah.
of love accessory hunting and the purchase of that, but you also have to love caring for your stuff, because you can't
Yeah.
neglect your stuff. It's very expensive. So in regards to tails, my fishy, can you tell me how many tails you have, what makers they're from, and why you chose those specific colors that you own?
I'm glad you asked, because I actually have them over on the side here. I'm gonna grab my silicone tail. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. She's gonna be right back with her. Oh my gosh, this is so great. I love seeing other mermaids' tails. It's such a
We're starting with the OG.
the OG. Here it comes.
Oh, don't knock it over. There. So this is Tala.
Tala. Hello, Tala. Nice to meet you. Look at that fluke. Oh my gosh, it's massive.
You can see all the details and stuff on the striping on the back.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's so gorgeous.
So this tail is my signature tail. She's from See Through Sea Mermaids. They are a husband and wife team that are based in Hawaii. And the cool thing about See Through Sea is that some of their proceeds are actually donated to ocean conservation and reef restoration in Hawaii. So I feel like not only do you get a really good tail out of it, but you also support a good cause, which is something that I feel very passionately about. And this tail has gone through so many adventures and a lot of repairs. She's had 2 broken monofins, a fin popped off at some point. She's got 2 repaints. This is the current repaint as of right now. She's I just got her repainted for that big project that I was mentioning earlier. And then she's been kind of a really good tail for me. And I love that it's a fluke shape that you don't really see in a lot of mermaids, with that kind of heart-shaped fluke. And C3C has it as like one of their signature flukes, but not a lot of mermaids have it, which makes me sad because I need more tail twins.
Oh. That's okay. You're a very unique fishy. You're a unique fishy.
No, thank you. She's definitely been my tried and true mermaid tail, and it's honestly, if not for Tala, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now, given how iconic the nautilus striping is. So yeah.
And how much does that tail weigh?
It weighs about
she weigh? Ah. Oh my goodness.
35.
Oh my god. Does she weigh more in the water? Like, is she obviously like, do you really feel it? Do you get like neutral buoyant? Do you sink? Like, what happens?
Yeah. So with the silicone tail, it's a full silicone, so it keeps you neutrally buoyant when you're underwater. When you're on land, however, you can definitely feel the weight. I've like the most of the weight of my tail is in my fluke. Here, let me actually point it down a little bit so you can see her a little bit better. Right there. So you can see all of the weight is in the fluke of this tail, and that's mostly silicone. My the monofin that's inside stops about here. So that's like a little ways down from where that main point is. And she's a hefty thing. I usually, when I carry her, I have to strap her onto my back, and I have to carry her down like hiking trails to get to the beach and stuff like that. And you definitely feel it when you're on land.
And what's the monofin that's inside? You said is that a shooter or is that a foil?
Yeah, it's a finished shooter.
It's a finished shooter. Yeah, that's one of the most popular ones to put in there because of the durable foot pockets. That they don't have the strap, that they just have like the straight booties.
Yeah.
Do you have any fabric tails that you practice in or that you do gigs in as well, or do you just own a silicone tail?
I've got 3 of them. Let me grab the first of 3. So this is Borealis. If I can get her up here. So this is
yes.
This is the Turquoise Sunrise from Finfolk Productions. And yes. I actually bought her because she is the closest resemblance to my silicone tail that I could find in a fabric. I was thinking about possibly getting a Mertailor custom at some point, but I figured this would be a good investment just for now. And yes. I love this tail so much. It's so pastel-y. It's so colorful. And the cool thing about this is that I didn't even think about it when I bought it, but when I got this tail, it actually represents the same colors as the Trans Pride flag. And it was like, it totally fits.
Isn't that amazing? It's such a beautiful fluke. See, that fluke matches the fluke for I own an original lily koi from Finfolk, so I have a lily koi, and I also have a parrotfish, and the lily koi and that one have the same fluke shape with like the sort of jut out and then the bottom triangles. So you and me are fluke sisters.
Yes.
We have the same shape. Yeah. So show me the other ones, baby. I want to see them. Honey. We want to see them.
The second one, the third one's actually in the bathroom. She's drawing right now, so she's inside out. But this is the second one. This is Lohengrin. He's the dark Finfolk as well. You can see all the really cool. I saw this tail during their fall release, and I'm a sucker for seafoams. Seafoam is kind of my favorite color. So getting to see this getting to see the design for this. I was so scared that the sea foams weren't going to translate as well when you see it live. But lo and behold, it's actually super vibrant, and it's, oh my gosh, it's kind of me in a tail, and I love it so much.
And again, you sort of have that really nice sort of like mermaid freckly pattern down the side of it that sort of matches your queen silicone tail.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like but it's in silver. I use it for my I'm planning on using this tail for my siren nymphia sort of look. So I'm still planning that out, but hopefully by Halloween this year you might get to see that.
So does Nymphia have different, like, do you have different Mersonas with different names, or does Nymphia herself have different Mersonas?
Nymphia herself is kind of, well, Nymphia herself is my main Mersona, but her darker side has a bit more of a story that I'm developing as well. I have a siren character that I would love to bring to life one of these days. I just don't have the tail that matches her color scheme. And
Yes.
yeah, her name is Nazira. She's a siren of the Aegean Sea, and she is one of the ambassadors of the sea monster Scylla from the Odyssey.
Oh, so you're still staying. Are you what is it about the sort of Greek mythology merfolk that attracted you? Like, what was it about? Is it the way that they look? Is it the way that they were portrayed? Is it their story? Like, what attracted you to them?
I mean, I've always been a Greek mythology buff. I used to read Greek myths when I was little. They were my first iteration to the mythological world as a whole. So I kind of felt that connection within Greek mythology right away. But as much as I looked further into the lore of a lot of these mythological monsters, I feel like there could have been a lot more backstory with quite a few of them within, because they're just kind of, say for example, like Medusa. Usually people associate with her as being this ugly, kind of ugly woman with snake hair that turns people to stone, but maybe in a past life she was beautiful. Maybe I know she and Poseidon had like a thing, but it was just I like the intrigue of bringing those monsters to life and giving them like a bit more of a character, which
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is a lot more fun because there's not usually in the classic myths there's not much of a dynamic for any of these monsters. So you get to learn more about them and you get to see kind of what makes them tick and how they operate, I guess.
Now you're also attracted to, or you said that you have a bit of a connection to Viking folklore or Viking stories. Have you come across any merfolk Viking stories? Like
I
have Vikings have stories about encountering merfolk?
I mean, being a seafaring people, they did believe in mermaids, which I figured as much because they traveled on the sea so often. One of the main versions that I've seen of Viking inspired mermaids are the Swan Maidens of Sweden. They're
Okay.
essentially these beautiful women that have these really pretty feather cloaks that when they put it on their shoulders, they transform into swans and then they just fly away. There's a very famous Swedish fairy tale about a hunter who goes out into this lake and he sees a group of swan maidens by a lake and he falls in love with the youngest of them, and in order to bind this swan maiden to him, he ends up taking her feather cloak and hiding it. It doesn't The truth comes out later on in the story after she marries him, and as soon as she puts the cloak back on she turns into a swan and then she flies away and they're never there. She never sees him again.
Isn't that amazing? Okay, so you just told me a story that's almost identical to another ancient story about like a moon fairy in Japan or
Huh.
China. They have a story about there's like two different stories that sort of clash with each other, and that's kind of where the inspiration for Sailor Moon came from.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like the bunny in the moon or the fairy in the moon came down and was bathing in a lake, and the man like stole her kimono and she couldn't return to the moon. Are you familiar with this story? Does that ring a bell?
I think little bits and pieces. The first thing I thought of was since you mentioned the moon, the story of Kaguya Hime, but but she wasn't really. She's from the moon, but she came out of a stalk of bamboo, and it's a totally different story. But
Yeah, but isn't that amazing that that's something? And also, when you mentioned that the women put on the cloak of a swan, that kind of reminds me a little bit of the sail keys, which
yeah,
I think is there's two different places that have sail key legends. One is I believe there's also an indigenous legend in regards to sail keys, but I haven't I remember reading that years ago, but I can't find it. I need to find it. And then there's
yeah,
also one from Scotland where the
yeah,
women put on the skin of a seal and then swim around with the animals.
yeah. The
So
I think
is
the
is that Viking related? Did that come from Viking legend as well?
I know the Vikings did believe in Selkies. Like they had a few of stories in their arsenal. I don't really remember them off the top of my head, but I know the Faroe Islands has a very famous Selkie myth.
And so it's quite amazing how through what I remember, you can correct me if I'm wrong because I know that you do more research than me about this, that our word for berserk, going berserk,
Yeah.
comes from the Viking tradition of a berserker, which was
Yes.
someone that would put on bear skin or wolf skin and transform or fight like that animal and would like
Yeah.
become very animalistic. So it's kind of amazing to me how that also sort of a real life thing, and it also sort of translated into like their myths of how they viewed these swan women. What was the name of the creatures again that they believed were beautiful swan women? I can't remember what.
Just
Did they have a
swan.
name?
They just call them swan maidens.
Oh,
I
they
don't
just
know the
called them
actual
swan women.
for them though.
Oh, okay. Because like, isn't that just incredible? And probably I'm not sure if you agree with me, Nymphia, but like I sort of have been convincing other people that the traditional mermaid, right, like the Copenhagen story of the Little Mermaid, is not the oldest mermaid myth that we have merfolk legends from all over the world, and I believe the oldest is even depicted in cave paintings from like 30,000 years ago.
Yeah.
We have cave paintings of merfolk. So it's an incredible thing for me to connect with another mermaid who enjoys hearing and reading about and researching legends from around the world because I think it's important and it also shows us how ancient people viewed water, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like how
Exactly.
you're right, like they translated their respect or their fear, right? Because in some cultures they have beautiful merfolk, in some cultures they're terrifying, in other cultures they're respected gods or like demigods. So it kind of shows how those ancient people viewed the water when they
Yeah.
translate to their merfolk.
Equal parts unpredictable, but equal parts beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, so it's like the water is the water is to be respected, but it's also life giving, and maybe that's why a lot of our myths for merfolk are associated with the female form. I'm not sure. Like, obviously there are male figure merfolk, but why are most of our depictions feminine? And is it because the sea is life giving? Like, I don't know. I don't know why that is. I think that might be an interesting look into human psychology, right? And why
Yeah.
we view the ocean that way.
Because you
Um,
like the bit. Sorry to cut you off,
no,
but
no, please, please.
so I know one of the biggest mythological tropes is this ideal of the Sky Father and the Earth Mother, but
Yes.
I think where the Mother Ocean ideology kind of stemmed from was probably within the Mesopotamian people because they had the goddess Atagardis. I think is how you say her name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but I know she is a maternal goddess and she is associated very heavily with water and she is considered one of the oldest depictions of the mermaid as a whole. But then you also think of as far as like another water sea mother, you think of Yamaya from the African myths, and she's kind of
Yes.
this really big presence within a lot of I think within African and A lot of African folklore. Ooh, Mami Wata. Oh,
So that's one of them from Africa,
yeah.
right? And again, a protector of women and mothers. And then I have another one here from Africa.
Let's see.
This mermaid doesn't have a name, but this is a story from
Ooh.
Africa. Another protector of women and young girls.
I know one of my friends actually recommended that book to me. I've never read it, but I want to.
Yeah, no, they're quite beautiful. This one's actually from a North American author. I saw the art on this one and I just fell in love with it. This one's called
Ooh.
Una is the name of
Una?
that story. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and it kind of reminds me of you actually. Her personality. She's very like um she's sort of bound and determined to find. She sees this crown at the bottom of like a crevice that she's having trouble getting, and she just like
Uh-huh.
is determined to get it. But then she kind of goes through a little bit of self doubt, and then she's like, "Nope, I'm gonna go get that crown because I want it." And the little mischievous
Yeah.
fishy actually goes. Um, Sorry, someone's got a question here. Mammy, someone says that Mammy Wata is actually one of their favorite international mermaid legends. So we do have
Oh,
other people in the chat that have heard of this story. Isn't that amazing? So I do, I actually pride myself a lot on collecting stories, or mostly for children, right? Because I have two little girls at home, or two children at home, but I
uh-huh.
haven't been able to find one from China, India, or Japan. Like I know that they have some amazing merfolk legends in those regions and in those countries, and I really want one, but I can't seem to find one. So if anybody knows where I can find these books or like children's books on, because in India the merfolk there are called the near the not the Nereid, the Naga or the Naga people, and they're kind of like half water snake, half people.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's two different versions from Japan, which are there's really not so good looking mermaids that are to be feared and respected, and if you capture them or kill them, you can bring disaster upon your region. And then there's like the beautiful mermaids from Japan, and then there's also mermaids from China in the Chinese legends that are like demigod type merfolk. And I can't find these stories, Nymphia. I really want them, and I can't find them, babe. I can't. Someone's gotta write these stories down for me.
They're out there. They're just it's just yeah, trying to find the version that's like seems to be the most constant is always the one. There's always a thing because like a lot of times these traditional stories are told orally, so there's a bunch of different versions out there, and not every version is the same. So
Yeah.
you kind of get a little bit
Even
of
if it's in
different.
a different language, I don't even care. Like I've got this one. This one's not a mermaid legend, but this comes from the indigenous community, and it is written in both English and Ojibwe, and it's called The
Ooh,
Water Walker, and it's about a young woman whose job it is to protect water and the
huh,
sacredness of water, and it's
interesting.
called right. So like this isn't necessarily like a merfolk, but
Yeah,
when I connected with this story and I read the story, it kind of identified with what the modern mermaid movement can be about, which is the protection of water and natural water spaces.
exactly.
So this young woman warrior goes on a journey to defend her sacred water, her
Hmm.
people's sacred water, and it rang with me, and it rang true with me, and I'm like, oh, I feel you, sister, like I got you, like we're there with you. So it wasn't necessarily like a merfolk legend, but her attitude is what some of the mermaid community tries to champion, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I actually kind of coming off of the heels of that, I learned when I was learning scuba diving. One of the things that's always stood out to me about scuba diving, they tell you at the end, I think at the last chapter of the online course, they say that as divers we are ambassadors for the water, so we have to treat our underwater environments with this must with a lot of respect and try to keep people interested in the realm under the sea. And that's always really stuck with me because being a mermaid, mermaids are also ambassadors or servants of the sea. So we do what we can to educate people about ocean conservation, overfishing, pollution, things of that nature, things that are actual, that are still happening to this day, and try to create a new, I guess, create a new generation of children of the sea and ocean activists that are willing and able to help. So that's really all that we can do.
It's actually a really tricky thing here to do because as landlocked people, our children, some of them can grow up into adulthood and never once be by the ocean, like not once. Luckily, like my kids have been to the ocean. My oldest has been to the ocean a couple of times. My youngest has been once, but it's actually an amazing thing that my pod leader, my leader of my Ontario Siren Pod, is a mermaid, but also a bylaw officer and writer, and writes bylaws for the city of Toronto to protect Lake Ontario against businesses that are throwing their whatever the heck into the water. And
Yeah.
so I am just so happy that we have not only a clean water ambassador that's in that job, but she's educated to do that job. She's an incredibly smart woman. She's got the qualifications, she's got the degrees, and she's also got a mermaid tail, honey. So she's coming for you. If you're dumping poison into
Yeah.
her water, she's coming for you. And I get so proud of her, and I wanted to cry when she told me this, and I wanted to like fall at her feet and be like, thank you for protecting our water, because there are parts of Lake Ontario that are unswimmable. You go, it's
Yeah.
like walking on sludge. It is so
Uh,
disgusting. And you go there and there's like dead fish, and there, so the equivalent to fresh water, it's not, obviously not, we don't get red tide in fresh water, but we get this invasive toxic algae growth that will kill everything underneath it. So once
yeah.
it comes in and blankets the top of the water, all life underneath it will die, and it will take block out sunlight, and so you get this like green sludge and then a bunch of dead fish, and it's just like, uh, like,
Like,
so yeah, be
no.
gone. Gross. So we're trying really hard here, and we're also dealing with. We live in a part of Canada called the Golden Horseshoe, which is kind
Yeah.
of like our biggest population growth around these Great Lakes. So we're dealing with ocean sprawl. Yes. So Mermaid Noelle is correcting me. It's called blue algae blooms. Yes, she's right. It's called blue algae blooms. So that would be the equivalent to a red tide in
Yeah.
uh, in ocean water. But yeah, no,
That's
we
very
we we have merfolk have different jobs, don't we, honey? We have
nice too.
different jobs, and we're important.
Like,
So
I give a salute to that mermaid who's helping keep our waters clean.
yes, that's our ocean mermaid page. We adore her, and we she's definitely fighting both with her mermaid fantasy, but also with those bylaws that she writes and going down and telling those people what. So I am gonna wrap this up, Mermaid Nymphia, because I've taken a delightful hour of your time. I can't believe, if for people who don't know what a treat it is to have Mermaid Nymphia with us. Like this mermaid is unbelievable, and I cannot believe you spent an hour talking to me. I just like, I want to cry. I'm so emotional.
No.
Uh, I'm so emotional about it, and it's such an honor to meet you. I'm sorry, I'm actually crying. Give me an
Sending,
emotional second.
I give you a virtual hug over the phone.
Oh, man, I'd love to, oh my god, I'd love to like just jump on you. It is just such an honor to meet you, and what you champion is so important. And if you ever need an ally, or you ever need someone to come for, so I'm here for you, babe. Like, I am in your court. I'm in your corner. I'm in your neck of the pool. I'm in your neck of the ocean, if you will.
Oh, thank
So if you please go and check out Mermaid Nymphia on both TikTok and Instagram. Her Instagram is popping, and she tells an amazing story. I'm not sure if all your content is, babe, so you can correct me, but I believe that most of your story content is family friendly. Is that
Yes.
correct? Can people with young children go check you out too?
Yeah. It's all family friendly. I've got the main story and the Frozen crossover that I'm working on as well is also family friendly.
Yeah. So Nymphia creates amazing mermaid fantasies and stories for all ages. It is all family friendly. On her YouTube, she even has like visual storytelling if you have little people that are interested in that. So please go and check that out. Give her a follow, give her a like, give her a subscribe, and support this fishy because she's working hard. She's a working fish. She's
Do you
good.
know?
So Nymphia, thank you so much for joining me, and maybe we can do this again sometime. We could come in and we got more things to talk about.
Yeah, I'm totally down. Like honestly, when you invited me on for this, I have never been live on TikTok like ever. So this is kind of like, so not only was it my first time, but you were also my first double live. So honestly, thank you so much for inviting me and letting me be a part of this. It's such an honor.
Oh my gosh, Nymphia. Okay, well, you have yourself a wonderful evening, fishy, and I look forward to stalking your TikTok videos. And I already duetted you today because I thought that was so cute.
Got to get the
The
chain going.
Yes, the little mermaid chain going. I did invite other mythical creatures in to join us. So, like, I invited a goblin and I invited an octopus. I hope you don't mind.
Yes, I am totally down. Any mythical creature who wants to be a part of this chain, by all means, come on in. We'd love to have you.
So it says people are saying thank you so much for coming in and doing this, Nymphia and Jacy. It's great to learn so much about you both. You're so my mom, Mer Grandma, that's my mom. She says you're so beautiful, Nymphia. Thank you for coming up to the northern country and bringing your ocean spirit. How sweet is
Oh,
that?
thank you
My
so much.
my sister-in-law, Mermaid Noelle, says thank you so much for chatting with us today, Nymphia. Oh my God, you're so gorgeous. So I am going to let you go, Fishy. Have a wonderful evening. It is such a pleasure to meet and talk with you. We love you.
Yeah,
Mwah.
well, sending you all the love here in the Mediterranean.
Bye, Nymphia.